Yeah, we all know Real Madrid has that African voodoo juju magic, right? When it comes to
I don't subscribe to that idea.
Dominant in the midfield. We were dominant in most of the aspects.
Was the
So
offside call, in your opinion, Krooshav? Was it fair?
I do have a problem that he blew the whistle before the play was over. I think that was the
End of the game, after Bayern took the lead, in what I believe is very much a mistake. Tuchel had the idea that we could defend the lead, and if hi everyone, today we have with us here Krooshav, our Real Madrid fan representative, and towards the fag end of the season, the UCL semi-finals have come to a conclusion, and a very familiar face who I think a lot of common fans might at this point be tired of seeing is yet again in the final in terms of Real Madrid. But on the other hand, we have a complete so-called dark horse in terms of popular narratives when the season began. I bet pretty much none of you would have expected or forecasted to see Dortmund going against Real Madrid in the final, but that is where things have come to. And tonight we're going to be discussing the UCL semi-final fixtures, both Real versus Bayern Munich and Dortmund versus PSG in hindsight. And we'll also have a few insights from Krooshav and myself about how we anticipate the final is going to be. So let's get started, Krooshav. So first of all, one thing I wanted to ask you is Bayern Munich again not in the best of their forms, and for the first time in over a decade, they have not won the league this year, which was stolen like won comprehensively by Leverkusen. So going into the match, Khrushchev, Real Bayern is not a new fixture for you or for anybody. Were you confident facing Bayern Munich, or rather, were you overconfident because Bayern Munich were not in the best of shape? How the match took place and how you feel about the result?
First of all, yeah, I mean, Bayern Munich has been having a poor season in the Bundesliga, but I don't think it's a team which should be underestimated at all, considering their European pedigree. And in the Champions League, I mean, they topped the group. They beat even teams like United, and they lost the first leg to Lazio, but then they came back with a bang again in the Allianz Arena. They won the match 3-0, and everyone for the first time probably in the history of football gave Arsenal more of a chance against Bayern. And in the first leg,
That was new, yes.
yeah, so every time it was 5-1, 5-1, 5-1. So this time Arsenal were the favorites. But I mean, even though when they were saying that they were the favorites, I still thought that Bayern would somehow pull through, considering the experience they have. I think they did very well to hold on in the first leg in Emirates, and then I think they were almost unstoppable, especially in the second half against Arsenal in Allianz Arena. So, I mean, I don't think they took the league form into the account when they were playing the Champions League. And definitely, Real versus Bayern has always been, with a few exceptions, has always been closely contested. Like
Contested, yeah.
especially, yeah, and it is a rivalry in itself. Like Real Madrid fans probably have the most respect for Bayern Munich than any other team. So we we do. I mean, we have so much respect for Bayern Munich. We actually call them La Bestia Negra, which means Black Beast. So because
La
considering the fact
Bestia
that they
Negra,
fight, yeah,
that's in Spanish.
yeah, that's Spanish, yeah. Yeah, so I did not underestimate them one bit. And also tactically speaking, I mean, Real Madrid did very well defending against City. But when City was attacking, we had to stay in the box for a long time, and we could actually wait, for a long time. Bayern Munich are not like that. They are more, even though under Thomas Tuchel they have not as vertical in the previous years. Still, they have some very good line breakers in the attack who can do,
Yeah, even in the
especially,
defense.
yeah, yeah, even in their defense, yeah. So we have, I mean, our midfield is probably the best in this competition, but still, like, whenever we lost the ball, especially when centrally when we lost the ball, like easily they could make line breaking process on the counter, and we always had a chance of slipping up over there, and we did when Alfonso Davis scored the goal.
So
So
you're saying that although you backed your team to get a positive result against Bayern, you were very much concerned with their ability and did not take them lightly despite their Bundesliga struggles. I get that right.
of course, yeah, of
Yeah.
course.
Now, Charlie
I
has
mean,
also joined us. I would also like to ask Charlie about his input. So, Charlie, not in hindsight, we've seen the match, we know what happened. But before the
yeah.
second leg happened, keeping in mind that it was happening in Santiago Bernabeu, how much did you fancy Bayern Munich to get a result from Real in Madrid?
Yeah, yes. So, yep. So let me just recap both the games in very short manner. So yeah, we all know Real Madrid has that African voodoo juju magic, right? When it comes to the UEFA Champions League
We will,
games,
we will,
where
we will certainly come to that. We have
yeah.
to have a discussion
So
about if that exists or not.
yeah. So yeah, when it came to the game, like Krooshav really mentioned here, I wasn't taking these German sides very lightly in Champions League too. So when we spoke in the previous episode regarding the first leg reactions, right? So I predicted first Bayern Munich and Dortmund to go to the finals to produce another Wembley Classic like the 2013 one. Um, my prophecy regarding the Dortmund game really came through, but regarding the Bayern game didn't really go through. So
Regarding
yeah,
Bayern Real Madrid tradition, just overcame your prophecy.
yes, exactly. So as Krishna said, I didn't take Bayern lightly too, and obviously we can't take Real Madrid lightly too. So they have the Champions League winning gene in their game. So yesterday, when literally at the start of the game, Sane at the 10th second mark tries to pass the ball to Harry Kane and then loses the ball, and then Vinicius Junior sprints across with the ball and tries to produce a chance. So that was a clear, stark indication of what the game was going to produce with regards to Bayern's defense. And I was hoping that they would produce a blunder in the next 20-25 minutes, but fortunately they didn't. And they were pretty strong in their defense, but over the progress of the second half, they pretended to, like, how to say, they pretended to attack too much and lost on the defense. That was my perception. And then somehow in the end, the Real Madrid Juju won. So that was the review of my first game. So
Uh,
getting the second game,
Actually, we will discuss the second game in the second half. So first, we'll just
sure.
focus the discussion on Real versus Bayern, and then we will definitely go to Dortmund versus PSG. So,
Yep.
Charlie, first of all, I just want to talk about the juju, the African voodoo, the black magic that you mentioned.
Yeah, exactly.
So, Charlie, the way I see it,
Yeah.
I don't subscribe to that idea. I don't
Okay.
subscribe to the idea that Real Madrid have uh, gotten lucky the last couple years, because the last CL title that they won, they had a very tough run in. They had to go through the CL with previous champions in Chelsea. Then they had to overcome Man City. So it was a very tough run into the final, and they won it. This time around, again, you might call it voodoo or juju, but I think it's the character of the team that just keeps repeating itself over and over again, because this habit, it is cultivated, and it has already, that winning habit, the habit of winning UCL is
Yeah.
already cultivated in Real Madrid. And despite all the youth that they try to bring into the team, despite all the young talents, the young flashy talents that they go for, they always have that ability to retain a certain core, so that the character, the winning habit that
Yes.
they have developed is not lost in transition. So
Yeah.
even if you look at it, they have lost Cristiano Ronaldo, no more Marcelo
Yeah.
in the team, no more Sergio
Yeah.
Ramos in the team. The
Yeah.
the huge gladiators, they have all gone. But at the same time, they have somebody like bloody Tony Cruz in that team, who is a
Yeah.
Rolls Royce of a midfielder even at this age.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
again, when Bayern scored the first goal, if you remember, Carlo Ancelotti, like it's admirable that at that age, even after having managed AC Milan, Chelsea, and Real Madrid, he has
Yeah.
that much hair in his head, because that's how cool the man is. Bayern scores a goal, and his immediate reaction is changing the midfield dynamic by substituting, taking Cruz out. And
Yeah.
then you think, okay, Cruz is going out. Now there is no experience, and he brings Modric in. And in order to balance Modric's, lack of current agility, he also throws in Kamavinga. Makes perfect sense. He's going for
Yeah.
one classy midfielder who can create, and compensating for his defensive work rate by sending in an absolute dynamo like Kamavinga.
Yeah.
So I think it's
Keeping.
that established character.
Yeah.
So that character, it just keeps taking them through the games. And also, I think the home advantage plays a huge factor into this. Now, this is something I wanted to talk in depth about. Yesterday's game, minute 55 to 56. I'm not exactly sure about the particular timing. Vinicius, who's been, like you said, having a cracker of a game, has been tormenting Kimmich non-stop. He goes on a dribble, and up until then, Bayern Munich are carving out a few chances. They are trading blows. Real Madrid are slightly more dominant on the possession, but they are not there to kill the game. That killing
Yeah.
instinct of Real Madrid has not awoken yet. They are just going through the game. Minute 56, Vinicius puts Kimmich on the ground, and he gets into the box. The chance is not converted. But then suddenly the whole stadium, the entire crowd, Santiago Bernabeu starts
Yeah.
pumping. It starts
Vinicius.
going
Vinicius taunts the
absolutely.
crowd. Vinicius taunts
Vinicius
the crowd
pumps the
towards
ground. Yeah,
taunts the
Vinicius
crowd
goes,
towards going to the
goes
corner flag.
he
Yeah.
goes to the corner flag. He pumps up the crowd. Rodrigo,
Yes.
Bengali from the other end, he also does the same.
Yeah.
And then suddenly, it was intense. It was crazy. The whole stadium just bombards into life, and suddenly it feels like a pressure cooker. People are booing Bayern for every pass. They are behind their team. They're backing every pass. They are chanting aggressively. The entire environment changes, and then you suddenly start getting scared. Even as a neutral fan, I don't support Bayern Munich. I have no sentiments for Bayern Munich. But sitting in my room, in my closed room, watching it on TV, I could kind of understand how scary that environment would have been. And I even mentioned it in our group chat that even if Bayern were to go ahead right now, they have mentally already lost to a certain extent because the
Yeah.
crowd is behind the team. So I think Real Madrid, the team, their character, their experience, their habit of UCL winning, also their fans, especially the fans, these five things work as a singular cohesive unit, and all these things together bring in that ability to win knockout fixtures, and you can't stop it. Quality players obviously there, but it's also the home advantage, the fan. I think that character permeates every single thing related to Real Madrid, that winning habit in the team, in the coach, in the players, in the stadium, and in the fans. Charlie, back to you, and Khrushchev, over to you from there.
Yeah. Yeah, yes. So as you said, like Real Madrid don't need someone or an external factor to instill that confidence and that winning mentality into them, right? They already have the players needed to win a match or a tie or even the UCL effortlessly. They already have the coach available, the best possible coach available in the market right now, or in even football, Carlo Ancelotti with them. So as you said, they like tactically speaking, they brought out Cruz and they brought in Modric and Kamavinga. Keeping in mind, Kamavinga is also an extra time specialist, and he used to
Yeah.
produce some really clutch goals and clutch moments for Real Madrid in the past 2 or 3 years, if I'm not wrong. So bringing in Modric and Kamavinga was a powerhouse move by Ancelotti to stabilize the midfield, even though a Rolls-Royce midfielder like Cruz went out. By the way, that Rolls-Royce midfielder or even that word Rolls-Royce in football applies to footballers only like Tony Cruz. That is
We
not
are
even
using it very selectively,
yeah,
and I,
I literally saw on a Twitter post or I'm an Arsenal fan mentioning William Saliba as a Rolls Royce defender. That's just for banter,
that's
I know.
no. We
Yeah,
are not going to bring
yeah,
down
yeah.
a brand like
Bring that
Rolls Royce to that level.
exactly.
Saliba is a wonderful player, but he has a
Wonderful player.
long
Yeah,
way to go before
way to go.
he earns adjectives that we are using to compare a Tony Cruz or a Iniesta. That's a level
Exactly.
where we park Rolls Royce at.
Exactly. So yeah, as I'm like, so I apologize if I'm deviating so far from the topics
No
because
issues.
yeah, Tony Cruz is what you call a Rolls Royce midfielder. But why I'm saying this is, I like thought Tony Cruz would put a literal line breaking pass to Vinicius like in the first leg that he put right. That pass which literally like shook the sports with the football Twitter world literally and everyone was speaking of that Tony Cruz pass. But Ancelotti took off Tony Cruz and I was literally tense that he would not put that wonder pass to Vinicius or Rodrigo and he would not produce that game-winning goal. But yeah, so as you said, Cruz and Camavinga and also Vinicius and Rodrigo doubled up their game and their efforts. And then Vinicius put that pass to Joselu, went on to win that first goal and also the second goal too, for which Vinicius was the chance creator. To be honest. So yeah, Real Madrid, to be honest, with their mentality and that crowd, as you said, both the white walls on both the ends of the net were literally scary after the 60-minute mark.
Insane.
Insane crowd meter. I was seeing the match and also the highlights. Like after the 60-minute mark, literally the sound levels went up in my
Yeah,
earphones.
yeah.
Right.
And quite to the contrary, one thing, sometimes team have that extra pressure when they're playing at home. When they go one
Exactly.
goal behind, the fans are suddenly scared. Like you don't want to lose in your own
Exactly.
backyard. It's the other way with Real Madrid. Their fans, they do not seem to care. They are way too confident. Even
Exactly.
they only started increasing their voice. They just got louder after Bayern scored because there is that sense of belief which permeates from the fans to the field to the players, and it you can even have it like watching it on TV in your
Yeah.
hall while having pongal. You can still feel the atmosphere that is
Yeah.
starting out from there and reaching here. So I think that very much it's a character. So Charlie, my conclusion point: do
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
take back the voodoo statement, or are we in agreement here?
No, mate, no, mate. As much as it sounds like a Twitter banter, I'm not ready to take back that Real Madrid have the traffic and juju because that's what pummels them forward. Like that is a factor that I won't like really deny. I know they have the winning mentality, the crowd, the players, the coaches, all possible factors. But yeah, they have it. Like
Keshav,
keep this as Twitter
over to
banter,
you.
but
Over
yeah,
to you, Keshav.
yeah,
So you are an insider. What's
Yeah.
your comment about?
Uh, I mean, like, I don't want to talk about this juju, like, in a general context. Okay, but let's just look at, what happened yesterday. So yesterday, like we had like not just 90, we had like I think 104 minutes of football. So, like, if you look at the whole game, like from the first half and the second half, maybe apart from like 20 minutes, I think we're Bayern were fine. But like I think most of the time, especially in the first half, Real Madrid were pretty dominant, and they were actually I mean, they had to blame only themselves, for not taking the lead because we were not clinical enough. And of course, Neuer was doing well, but still we could have shot better. at that point of time, and we were very dominant in the midfield. We were dominant in most of the aspects. So, I mean, I think it is a fair result at the end of the day. Like, it was 2-1. I think 2-1 is a fair result considering the fact that we were not clinical, and Bayern at times defended well, and Neuer was also pretty good. I was afraid that Bayern would score if we were not clinical enough, and that is what happened. But once they scored, I like unlike what you guys are saying, I was actually scared that we would lose this match because I thought that Bayern Munich were one team which probably would not fall into this trap of this Bernabeu crowd because of considering their pedigree. But I think still, like the Real Madrid fan, I think we were pretty much gutted at that point of time because like we dominated the entire game and we suddenly won 1-0 and we were mentally down at that point of time. Of course, we know how to come back, but I felt like this was a unique situation. But I think, and Bayern Munich had one chance at that point of time where they could score another goal, and I don't know who the player was, but he could have made it 2-0. And when the player missed that chance to score, I thought to myself, did these guys forget about us? So, and once after that, I thought that, we would somehow turn this around. And like out of nowhere, we scored a goal with Jose Lu coming, scoring the first goal. And then also out of nowhere, Jose Lu scoring the second goal. Out of nowhere, when the first goal, this Neuer made a mistake. So we easily, whenever opponent teams makes a mistakes, we pay for the opponent pay for them so much. So I mean, when that first goal was scored by Real Madrid, I think that was the time we match totally turned. And remember that the roof in the Bernabeu was actually closed, so it was closed against City as well. That's why the noise levels went up than usual. And always, playing at Bernabeu in the second leg, teams are always under pressure. Even without the closed roof, with the Champions League history, they're always. We just have some sort of, we have. We have this Champions League DNA, so we have a love affair with this competition. So yeah, I think that overall, if you look at the game, I think we deserve to win. And few things which I wanted to talk about regarding some of the controversies. Okay, I do accept the fact that Nacho pushed, I think Kimmich, which where our goal was disallowed. That was pretty fair. Um, I think
Kushal,
we. What
sorry
was
to
the other one?
interrupt. Sorry to interrupt you, but we are going to talk about the offside call at this point, right? Because this is something I certainly wanted to include in the agenda as well, and you're more than welcome to speak your idea and opinion about it. So I'll just throw in the question so that Charlie and me, all of us are on board. So
Yeah.
what we're going to was the offside call in your opinion, Krooshav? Was it fair? Do you think Bayern were denied a legitimate goal, and if so, why?
Okay, before I talk about Bayern's call, I think first of all, I think I should appreciate Modric. He was the one who demanded the referee to check, if our goal was actually fair, and it was fair at
Okay.
the end of the day. Yeah. And yeah, so coming to Bayern's thing, so lot of these people are calling it double standard, double standard. I don't think that is the case. I think the referee was probably under pressure, or he just made a mistake on the spot. Sometimes when you're under pressure, sometimes you make a mistake, even though you're pretty good, better than that. So, and whether Bayern's goal was offside or not, it was offside. It was proved to be offside. But I do have a problem that he blew the whistle before the play was over. I think that was the mistake, and I think he made that mistake under pressure rather than saying like double standards. Like Real Madrid always get favorable calls, so that is what my thought is. And I don't think Dalit. I think Tuchel, Dalit, they can be angry at the fact that the call was made earlier, but they cannot say something, few things like they got robbed and Real Madrid always robbed and all these nonsense. I don't subscribe to that at all.
Krishna,
But I think
I'll
at the
have
end
to
of the day,
add
it's a pretty
something
fair
there.
result. And
I'll
one
have
more,
to
yeah, okay,
No, no,
yeah,
I'll have to add something there, Krishna, regarding the
yeah,
same topic. So, one reason already the crowd was pretty angry. Non-Real supporters, Real haters,
yeah.
Bayern fans, they were all pissed off with the call. But one thing that actually amplified their voice happened after the match when Delete said in the press conference that the assistant referee apologized to Delete, saying
Apologize.
that it was a
Yeah.
mistake. which I
Hmm.
also agree. It was a mistake made by the assistant referee, but the extent of the mistake goes exactly as far as Khrushchev, what you already said. In the sense, he should have let the play continue because it was a
Yeah.
close offside call. That is what referees are supposed to do so that the play can continue and they
Yeah.
can make a
Yeah.
better decision in hindsight.
Yeah.
But the reason why I don't agree with people who subscribe to the idea that Real Madrid robbed Bayern Munich is because of two factors. The first thing is that when the referee blew the whistle, when the linesman raised the flag and referee blew the whistle, the Real Madrid defenders, because you, as a footballer, that's the first rule. You play to the referee's whistle. You stop the game
Yeah.
only if you hear the whistle. So as soon as the whistle was blown, it was clear that Rudiger and the others who were defending that attack, they actually dropped it. They dropped the intensity. They were
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
as energetically
Yeah.
defending as they usually were,
Yeah.
which I certainly believed helped Bayern Munich put the ball in the back of the net. Now, if the play had continued without the referee's whistle, it's a question. It cannot be
Yeah.
answered by predicting the future. We cannot be
Yeah.
sure that the ball was first of all going in if Real Madrid actively defended it. Might have gone in, but might very well not have gone in as well. Real Madrid could have very well defended it. We do not know. First factor. Second factor is that even if you considered the offside and even if the goal had gone in, it was actually an offside. So we have pictures of it from coming in the press after the match was over, and it was clearly shown that the two attackers from Bayern Munich, one of them, Rudiger, was the last
Offside.
defender. He had his shoulder and chest ahead of Rudiger's last leg. So
Yeah.
although marginal, although very marginal, it was certainly an offside goal. So these two factors make me believe with utmost certainty that it was again a fair result. The referee made a mistake certainly, and that might be why he apologized to Delhi, that he should have let the play continue. But interpreting it and saying that Real Madrid got an unfavorable result is not fair in my opinion. Charlie, over to you now.
And can I add
Yes.
something?
Yeah, sure, Kushal.
Yeah, yeah, sure.
Yeah, two things. One is like, what if Bayern got the goal? Like what if like the referee had blown the whistle and it went to VAR? And imagine Delit was onside, and if they score, if Bayern actually scored the goal, then Real Madrid players would be complaining. That is one thing. So from their perspective, and second thing is, I did not understand the fact that it was said the added time was 9 minutes. So referee actually pointed his finger saying this like two saying with his hands he said 2 more minutes left. Then I saw the stoppage time and it read 14. So
14,
like
yeah.
yeah. So and this Bayern disallowed goal came very late. So from that point of time also I think Real Madrid fans have something to argue about.
Charlie.
So yeah, yes. So like regarding this topic, you guys literally spoke all the points that I literally had in mind, to be honest. So yeah, that offside call, and then people saying that Madrid robbed Bayern of that goal, it totally doesn't make sense, to be honest. As you said, the referee made a mistake too, but as you said, the referee blew the whistle, and then the intensity stopped. Rudiger, and if I'm not wrong, Carvalho were looking somewhere else, and then Bilic slotted the goal past Lunin when nobody was paying attention to it, and then they tried to claim the goal. So he did it when he first received the ball, he was offside, and then he passed it to Kimmich or Harry Kane, if I'm not wrong, and then received the ball again, and then he hit the goal.
Limer, I think it was. Kane
Yeah,
was already
exactly.
off by then.
Yeah, exactly. So he was already offside, so it is senseless of Bayern trying to claim the goal against Madrid, which at the end of the day doesn't make sense. But
At
as
the
you
end
said,
of the
the
day, we
FA.
have deserved finalists in the final.
Exactly, we have the reserve finalists in the final, but also like I could regarding the players' mentality in the last 20 to 30 minutes, right? I could literally see Musiala, Kane, and even the oncoming substitutes. There is Muller, Chupu, Moting, like they were scared shitless of the Real Madrid crowd. I could literally sense that in their faces, and Harry Kane was looking berserk, like he was scared of the crowd. I could see it. Harry Kane isn't a player who's scared of crowds. He's seen bigger crowds and he's fought against bigger teams.
He's also somebody historically who always steps up when the crowd is at their worst. He scores against
Exactly.
Arsenal, he scores against Chelsea at great
Every
stadiums.
single team. Yeah, he has even scored at Anfield
Yeah,
at some occasions, if I'm not
yeah.
wrong. So yeah, when literally the crowd is against him, he literally tended to score. But yesterday he looked like clueless, and I'm like, what am I going to do in this situation? I don't know what the hell I'm going to do. So they were looking pretty scared, and that paid off for Real Madrid in the end. Yeah.
Now, just we've covered the mental aspects
I
and
I
the
have
arbitrary
one I have
things.
one question. Okay, it's regarding Tuchel's tactics at the
Substitutions.
I was
end,
just I was just coming
and
to that. I
yeah,
was
Tactics and
yeah,
substitutions.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
tactical. So I'll just summarize what Tuchel did. So in the end, towards the end of the game, after Bayern took the lead, in what I believe is very much a mistake. Tuchel had the idea that he could defend the lead, and if at all
Exactly.
a counter and a break comes in, that is when they try to score another. The change that he made was clearly defensive, bringing Kim Min-jae on and moving to a three-man centre-back line and putting the wing-backs. One reason I think that might have forced him to make that change in terms of substitutions from a tactical point of view is that Kimmich had a very terrible outing against
Terrible game. Yeah.
Vinicius. It is very rarely you see a good winger like Vinicius. He will occasionally get the better of your fullback. That's understood. That's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
But every time Vinicius was attacking, every single time, almost every single time, he was able to get past Kimmich with ease. And it was not just when he was running into space or chipping the ball ahead of Vinicius and chasing for long spells. Even in tight areas, he was able to beat Kimmich very comfortably. And I think that is one factor that forced Tuchel into that three-man backline change, because in that case, Kimmich would be playing in a slightly more wing-back position and he would have additional protection from one wide centre-back. Secondly, it definitely was the idea that since they took the lead, it is better to defend it out. And I don't think it's a good idea to try to defend a lead against Real Madrid in UCL. It rarely ever works. And Tuchel, very honestly, is somebody who should have learned from experience, because this is the third time he's playing Real Madrid in Santiago Bernabeu in a knockout
Yeah.
fixture. First time with Chelsea, he won it. To be honest, the first time when he won it, Chelsea also had N'Golo Kante in the last final flash of his career, and
Yeah.
that was enough to stop Real Madrid in itself. No
Yeah.
disrespect when I say it, Real had a classy team back then, but Kante really bulldozed them. Second time, Real beat Tuchel's Chelsea purely because it was a kind of a defensive withdrawn performance, and this time, somebody with that much experience, I think it was rightful of fans to expect something better than to go into that shell. Now, Krooshav, you threw the question at both of us. I definitely would like to hear what Charlie has to say about this.
Yeah. So those substitutions that Tuchel made, in my opinion, were really disastrous. Like I get Kimmich had a really bad game against Vinicius, and Tuchel had to be forced to making those substitutions by his assistant coaches and by his tactical acumen too. But keeping in Choupo Moting and bringing in Muller on the final dying minutes of a tie, where in Real Madrid, you know Real Madrid are going to snatch the game away from you at least in a parallel universe. That's really so disastrous of Tuchel. Tuchel shouldn't have made those substitutions and let on Harry Kane and Musiala at least try those 3 up to 4 chances that they think they could create in the final minutes of the game and then stop the goal and then seal the game with a lid. So that was what Tuchel should have been going through with his tactics, but we literally don't know what was going on in his head. So yeah,
I certainly agree that it played a part in
exactly.
probably there are a lot of ifs and buts, but
Yeah,
maybe
exactly.
Musiala at least was very well better off staying on the pitch, because he was the
Exactly.
most threatening of the Bayern lot of attackers. And I think, okay, one more final thing that I want to say is the first of all, Neuer made a mistake for Joselu's goal. Credits to
Yeah.
Joselu. He comes on, the career trajectory is absolutely amazing, because I do remember him in PL trying to head in long throws at Stoke City. From there, long way to two winning goals against Bayern Munich for Real Madrid in UEFA Champions League semi-final.
He
Credits to
apparently asked
Joselu.
for tickets for the Champions League final long back.
Would not doesn't surprise me coming from a Real player. Secondly, one thing I also want to mention is that it's also not just the attackers, because the characters, Real Madrid also makes sure that apart from having classy players in the team, they also get that characters, the leaders, the gundas, the funny guys. All it's a vibrant mix. You have a loyalist, unwavering loyalist like Nacho Fernandez in the team, who's not
Carvajal,
exactly the most celebrated. Carvajal, not exactly the most
Carvajal.
celebrated centre back
Exactly.
Nacho is, but what a servant he's been to Real Madrid. And then they bring in somebody like, absolute crazy man, one of my personal favorites in Antonio Rudiger. And it was actually these two guys who played a big part in the goal, because the ball was won, the duel was won by Nacho, which went wide, and Rudiger played a huge part in assisting Joselu with that pass. So overall, I think it's a beautifully crafted team in terms of how the sporting department executed their vision, and there they are in the final. So we will look forward to the final and see how it goes. Now, which brings us to the previous fixture. And Charlie, I would